Alright, so we're going to take a look at how to access a server using SSH remotely. So what is SSH and why use SSH? Logging into a server from a remote location using a plain text protocol such as FTP or file transfer protocol or telnet is not a good idea anymore. It's too risky. There's plenty of people snooping around our networks looking for information they can steal. Hackers, bad actors, whatever you want to call it. Instead, we use SSH or Secure Shelf. Secure Shelf provides us with a layer of encryption between the client, us, and the server that we want to connect to. So our information is encrypted. If you can see here, I have three screens. I have my Ubuntu virtual machine running on my Windows computer, and I have a command prompt, and I have my AWS console open in my personal account. First, let's take a look at how to SSH from my command prompt on my Windows to my virtual machine here running on my computer. So first thing, let's look for a terminal here, and let's run fconfig so we can get the IP address here. Your IP address is probably going to be different than mine. So first thing we need to do is type SSH. That's the SSH command, and we need to use the option -p to give it the port number. The default port number for SSH is 22, port 22. And after the option, we need to pass in the username. If you can see, my username for this virtual machine is Attack Titan. Yes, I'm an anime fan, so Attack Titan. And then next we do add, and we pass in the IP address from this virtual machine, which is in my case 192.168.1.186. We hit enter. It's gonna prompt you for the password, so you gotta use the same password you used to log into this virtual machine. Here's the password. It's not going to show you the actual password here, but you hit enter after typing the password, and as you can see here, I was able to log in from my Windows computer to my virtual machine running on the same machine. So if I do an ls here, ls-l, you can see all the files that are here are also here, and that is how you use SSH to connect to another host or computer. But now we're going to see how to use SSH to connect to an EC2 instance running on the AWS cloud. I'm going to minimize this, bring this up here. I'm going to type exit to log off. And now let's go over to, let's minimize this for a second. Let's go over to the AWS console, go over to EC2. Let's go to instances. Let's launch a new instance. I'm gonna pick Amazon Linux T2 Micro for the free tier. Click next. I'm gonna leave everything the default VPC. I'm not gonna pick a subnet, and I'm gonna let it. I'm gonna need a public IP, so let's leave it all defaults here. Let's click next. Default size. Click next. Next, we don't need this for now. Here, we need to have a security group that has SSH available as a rule for this EC2 instance. If you want to create a new group, a security group, you leave it here as a default. It's gonna have the SSH and a port TCP port 22, which is the default port. And all you need to do is click review or launch. You review, everything looks good. Hit launch. And right now, let's create a new key pair for this video. So let's do Abraham -video -key. This is the name of my key pair. I'm gonna hit download key pair. I'm gonna need this file, the file, to be able to log into my EC2 instance. Hit launch instance. Click on view instance, and as you can see here is this instance state is pending. Let me rename as AV type video so we can identify it here from the list. And as you can see here, you have an option to connect. My instance state is running now, so if I hit connect and you go here to the SSH client, it's going to tell you the steps of how to SSH. If you're running on Linux or Mac, you need to run this command chmod 400 and then the name of your key pair in order to change the permission to read only for the key file before you can use the SSH command. If you're on Windows, you don't need to change to run this command. This is only for Linux and Mac. Let's bring back our command prompt here. So I'm going to navigate to the location of the key file, which is in my downloads folder. Now that I'm in the location where my key pair is, I can run the SSH command, and we need to use the -i option, and we need to pass in the key pair name, which is in my case is Abraham. That's not the one. So Abraham -video -key.pen. That was the name that I gave the key pair. Then we do space. The username is ec2-user. As you can see here, ec2-user @ and then we need the public IP address from the EC2 instance. Let me go back to the EC2 instance so I can show you where you can find this information. So we select the one that we created, the one that's running. You can see the public IP address is here. So I'm going to pass my public IP address, which is 18. Yours is going to be different, 117.23a.7. Let's take a look at the command again. So SSH-i, then the file, the key file that we need to secure login to our EC2 instance, then the username and the IP address. Let's hit enter. Let's type yes, and we are logged in. This is successful. Now let me show you if we do an ls and pwd, we can see that we are /home/ec2 user. We are at the home directory. And if we do an ls, there's nothing there. Let's minimize this and let's select the running EC2 instance and click connect again. And let's look at the EC2 instance connect option that we have here. If we click here and we hit connect, you see that we can connect to this instance from our browser, from the AWS console. Let's make a directory called tester, and let's do ls, and we can see that this directory is created. Now let's bring back our command prompt and do another ls, and we can see that our tester is here as well. So remember that if you're running Linux or you're using Mac, you need to run the chmod 400 and then the name of your key pair file here to give it read-only permissions. So let me show you how this would look. Let's go here and I'm going to touch a test file .pen. It's just gonna create an empty file. Let's do ls. Oops. Hit Control-C, ls. So we can see that this file is here. Let's do ls-l and let's look at the permissions. We have read and write, and read. So the user has read and write, the group read and write, and others have read permissions. If we do chmod 400 test, gonna hit tab, file, hit enter, and we do ls-l now, we can see that now this file, only the user has read permissions. And you need to do this to when you download the key pair file before running the SSH command. And that's all you need to do in order to use SSH to connect to a remote server. Thank you for watching and see you on the next one.